The other day in one of the Facebook groups, I saw a Clio Manage user express their frustration that Clio doesn't have a broadcast feature, right? So that, for example, when your office gets closed for holidays, or for example, if there is some emergency in the state and you need to email all of your active clients that you have stored in Clio Manage, that there isn't a feature that would be able to easily set up a broadcast and send them a message. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up a simple automation in make.com that will look up all the open matters that you have and send an email to all of those clients that will look just like this. For example, you can use it for office closures during holidays, emergencies, etc. You'll be able to include all of the active clients either in BCC or to actually personalize each email to them individually. In this video, I'm going to show you how you can set up this automation and how you can get started with it in just a few minutes in your firm. Let's get going. Hey there, my name is Martin Kravchenko and I'm the CTO at Swans, where we help growing law firm owners free up their time by implementing the right operational and technical systems at their firm. Now, in this video, I'm going to go through step by step how you can build this automation, but if you're going to get started quicker, you can also grab the templates and import it into your make.com account in the link down below or in my bio, completely free of charge. So what's the idea here? The idea is that we'll look up all the open matters that we have in Clio Manage, right? So for example, at this moment here, I have 73 matters. If we look at just the open ones, it'll be 55 of them. What we're going to do is we're going to get all of those open matters. We're going to extract all of the email addresses of those clients, and we're going to send them an email through Gmail or through Outlook, whatever your email provider is, putting all of them in BCC, or potentially actually personalizing each email to the recipient. Now, the first step is actually preparing the email content, right? How the email will look like. That includes the subject line and also the email body over here. Now, you can either write up a simple plain text email, but if you want something a bit more advanced like this, you'll actually need to use HTML. Now, don't worry if you don't know about HTML. Right now we have tools like Claude and ChatGPT, which can very easily help you construct something like this. For example, in my case, right, I actually wanted to draft an email about a holiday office closure. And so I just went to Claude, an AI tool similar to ChatGPT. I asked it, write an email announcement from ABC law firm in the US about closure during Christmas to its clients. It came up with a text just like this. And then I told it, write it in email HTML. And so then it came up with some code, which will look something like this in your email client. And if anything is incorrect, right? So for example, here it didn't have my name. I just asked it, hey, the name of the managing partner is Martin Kravchenko, and then it came up with the correct code. After that, you simply click copy, go to Google Chrome, you paste it in here, click OK, and you're set. Now, that's the first step, setting the subject line and the email body. After that, we are using inbuilt Clio Manage connector with make.com, get open matters, right? So it is a search matters module. In this case, we are not really putting any of these additional filters. The only filter that we actually include in is this status field over here, where we are only selecting matters that are open, right? If, for example, you also want to include the ones that are pending, you can also do so here very easily. Now, in the limit, we're going to put a very large number, let's say 10,000, to make sure that we get all of the matters that we have in our account that are open. Now, for the purposes of testing, we'll just include the first three so that we can safely test out if everything's working fine. So here, when this module runs, we'll get something like this, where we'll return bundles for each one of those matters with all of its fields. So for example, here 3 bundles, as you can see. If we were set it to a larger limit, as we would do in practice, and run it, we should expect 55 bundles for each one of the 55 matters that we have open in our account. So just like that, you can see 55 bundles. All right, let's switch this back. And then for each one of them, we get all of its information, and also we have this client collection, which has the client name and also their primary email address and secondary email address. After that, what we're going to do is, because this module returns multiple bundles, it will mean that all of the modules after it will execute it once for each bundle, i.e. once for each one of these open matters. We don't really want that because we want to put all of those email addresses in BCC. If you would want to send a personalized email to each one of these clients, then you wouldn't use this aggregator, and you'd simply put already the send email action straight after it, straight after this module, and potentially as well personalize it, for example, with the person's name and any other details that you would deem necessary. For example, the name of their paralegal, etc. Now, in this case, as we just want to send one email broadcast to everybody, putting them in BCC, we need to aggregate these bundles into an array. So after this aggregation is done, let me actually disconnect this, and I'll run just this portion of the flow. We'll get an array containing in collections the matter, all of these matters. The fields that we are including over here are defined in this aggregated fields selector over here. I just include the matter ID, display number, and actually this client object, considering we don't really need anything else at this point in time, right? So for each one, we have the ID, display number, and the client information. After that, we are setting an array of BCC emails. And so how do we do this? We can use this map function, which will essentially look at this array, right, and extract an element out of it, right? So for example, we could get an array of all the matter IDs, or for example, an array in this case of all the primary email addresses of these clients. And so to do this, we are passing the array that we get from step number 2, and for the selector of the actual element that we want, it would be client.primary email address. And so at the end of this, we get an array, a simple array, with the email addresses of all of our clients that have open matters. After that, the last step is actually sending out the email. We'll define from where it will be sent. Here I recommend using some kind of firm @address, right? If you want to specify some kind of different display name as well, you can do so over here. Take note, however, that this won't necessarily apply to all email clients. Some email clients will just ignore this and display the actual name of the account that you have defined, for example, in your Gmail or Outlook. In the 2 email address considering that is required, I usually would just put that same firm email address, kind of like send it from itself to itself, but then in blind copy recipient over here, if you don't see, by the way, this option, just click show advanced settings. In the blind copy recipient, we'll include the array of BCC emails that we prepared in step number 4 over here, all right? So that will include the emails of all the active clients. And then in the subject and the content, we are gonna put the variables that we have defined in step 6 over here, the subject and the email body. As well, you can use HTML text, right? So we are using an HTML formatted, in this case by Claude, to make sure that our email is looking nice. All right, so let's actually test run this and see how this works. So I'll click run once. It gets all these open matters, in this case just 3 for testing purposes. We get all of these BCC emails and the email is sent. Let's actually see how it looks like in our email client. So the email looks just like this. We don't really see any of the other BCC addresses logically. We have the email, as you can see, well formatted with HTML, with the correct signature and everything else we have defined. Now, if you'd want now to rerun this at any point in the future, you would simply need to change up the email subject and the email body and run this automation again. So very simple. Again, we'll just get at that point of time of running all the open matters and send that email to all of the clients. Now, if you want to make the process even simpler, for example, for your admin stuff, instead of them having to access the make.com automation platform and actually making the change here, what you could do is you could set the trigger to a form being submitted in a software like, for example, Fillout or Zoho Forms or anything of that sort. And in that form, you'll have a place for the email subject and also for the email body. And so they'll simply fill that out, right? That can be a link that is accessible easily from the browser for them. And once they submit the form, then this automation will trigger. And instead of using, this module over here, set variables, it will simply get the email subject and the email body from the form and then send out those emails. In case that you want to personalize each email, again, as I briefly explained previously, what you would do is you would remove this aggregator step over here. You would remove this BCC emails as well. And you would simply have the open matters and then the sending of the email. And this will send a separate email for each one of these clients. In this case, you would replace the to field as well to the actual client email, the primary email address. You wouldn't include any blind copy recipients. And as well, potentially in the content, if it is more predefined, for example, you have an opening line, so it's like dear, and then the first name, you can code it here and have your legal admin stuff simply provide the remaining part of the email if you would want. Now, considering that it will be quite a few emails that I actually sent out, what I also recommend is adding a sleep module over here, just for example, for 1 or 2 seconds, to make sure that the API doesn't time out, right, as it will be executing continuously. Just have a bit of a delay to make sure you don't have any rate limits with the Gmail API. But again, I think the preferred really version would be something like this, where you just send one email and all of them are included in BCC, and so you don't really have then to worry about these things over here. Now, if you want to get started with the Terminal automation straight away, again, grab it in the link down below or in my bio. And if you have any questions or issues or suggestions for other videos that I should make, please let me know. I'm really happy to help. I hope that you have found this video helpful. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe to see more.